So say, for example, if I do not have an exam, how many of you would be studying to that extent, learning to that extent, practicing to that extent if you do not have an exam? So when you say that degree does not matter, but would you be disciplined enough in order to study, practice, prepare, revise, learn that well? No. That is one. Second, how do you prove it? Now, when you go to a recruiter, when you're in an interview, let's say, or when you're even talking to a client, the client or the interviewer is not going to take a taxation law audit exam of yours. That is not his job. The institute has already taken an examination to test your ability in finance or management or whatever. So the recruiter automatically knows that you've qualified so and so exam, so your technical expertise or your subject expertise, your domain expertise is already there. In the interview, whether you can apply what you've learned, you'll be having questions around those. So if you've mugged up and studied, it is not going to help. But if you can explain, if you can answer questions, for example, I've taught you valuations, let's say, but if in an interview somebody asks you, how do you do the valuation of a parking lot in a mall? So let's say we've got this Quest mall over here. How do I do the valuation of this parking lot? Immediately within 10 seconds, would you be able to answer this question? You will be able to. If you've learned valuation, if you've understood valuation properly, you have to be able to answer that question as well. So that will depend on whether you are reading enough, whether you're able to apply the knowledge that you've learned in your subjects that you've prepared for. The person already knows that you've studied, you've qualified so and so exams, so therefore you have an understanding of these subjects. But can you think on your feet? Do you have that presence of mind? Would you be able to apply those concepts elsewhere? Are you confident in communication? And nowadays, particularly, I'm telling you, there are a lot of companies and all who've started a written test. They would want to see how well you can communicate, and they would also want to see how well you can write. Also, depending on the profile or the job that you're applying for. You would get a sample financial model, let's say, to create, and based on that, the interview will take place. So if you have qualified an exam, but you cannot write, you cannot use Excel, or you cannot talk in an interview, you would not get that job. So both the things are going to be very important. So you can't have one and not the other. Of course, exceptions would be there. Somebody may not have soft skills at all and might be some absolutely crazy at coding, let's say. So he might still do very, very well because he's gotten into some very small aspect of a job and he's doing exceptionally well in that. And that is compensating for all the other skill set that he does not have probably. Or somebody may not have technical expertise, but he can talk very well. He can just talk. He might be able to do a lot of sales without even understanding the product maybe, but very less probability of that, and that may not work in the long term, right? So you have to understand these things. So when we're looking at skill sets broadly, so you have to work towards your soft skills, your written communication. So I see people using have and has interchangeably. You cannot do that, right? Not understanding the difference between affect, effect, let's say. So you have to be a little accurate. You cannot use a chat GPT all the time. Chat GPT will not work that way. And while I'm talking to you, I cannot use a chat GPT to correct my grammar, right? You have to be in a position to write without the assistance of a chat GPT. Your communication skills, even if your profile is not of a speaker, you'll have to talk to your team, your colleagues in order to get the work done, to coordinate with each other. You'll have to present your ideas or explain your reports, what you've drafted to your team members, present maybe to the board or something. So you have to have that communication skill. You may not be an extrovert. You might be an introvert. Don't discuss your personal feelings. Nobody's asking you to. But in a professional capacity, you'll have to be able to communicate. That'll come with practice. You'll have to start with regards to reading, because if you want to build more perspectives, you need to read. So if I want to understand how operations work or how to make my manufacturing process more efficient, I'll probably read, let's say, High Output Management. I'll start with. The CEO of Intel, Andrew Grove, he wrote that book. And he starts with an example where in a restaurant, if you're going to a bread and breakfast or something and you want English breakfast in the US, let's say, so it's written from that perspective, you would want the omelette, the toast and the coffee all hot at the same time. And one person is taking the order or let's say coordinating, putting all of those things together and serving you. So you understand the process with which you're able to put all of those things warm at the same time on the table of the customer. So how do you understand the process of operations or manufacturing from it? What you can take from it? You have to read. If you do not read, how do you gain perspective? You have to read. Next is your technical skills. So Excel, PPT, Word is something 99% profiles are going to be using one of those or two or three of those. So you have to be very, very good because you're going to be using throughout your Excel, Word, PPT mostly. Next is Python data analytics. Again, it's become very, very popular. But again, you have to understand, out of 1,000 jobs, maybe 900 jobs or 900 roles, businesses, 900 roles would require an Excel PPT Word. 1,000 would be requiring you to use a Gmail. So please learn Gmail shortcuts. I press a C and there's a compose mail. I press GI and inbox opens. So even if you're within a mail or something, go to inbox, GI. You learn shortcuts. All 1,000 people are probably going to be using some email format or the other. 900 would be probably using Excel, Word, PPT, 950 or whatever. And barely 10 or 5 or 2 might be using a Python. Everybody would not need Python. But yes, when you're talking about Python, R, SQL, etc., Python would be the better one out of Python, R, and SQL. SQL is more on the database side. Python and R, whatever R can do, Python will be able to do. But whatever Python can do, R will not be able to do, mostly. So therefore, Python has become very popular. You have to understand, you start with Office first, then you move into Python also. Data analytics, a lot of other softwares and all are there, but that also depends. And each company might be having their own preferences. For example, for data presentation, somebody might be using a Power BI, somebody might be using a Tableau. So that will come at a little next step. So first you start with your MS Office and all. Next is you gain internship, you do social work. I've seen people building their profile by adding a lot of social work, Teach India, etc. And they put all that together in terms of your social work and all, particularly when you're looking at applying to colleges abroad. In that case, your social work segment also is important in terms of building your entire profile. And internships in terms of getting into a job. So say, for example, you feel a little less confident in terms of your grooming skills, or whether you'll be able to apply your skills properly or not, or whether you'll be able to crack an interview or so. In that case, you join an internship, groom yourself, work yourself up in terms of, writing, behaving in an office, the office culture and Excel PPT and all, and improve yourself, the application part, and then you go for a job. And also you have to understand in terms of your career plans. If I have a 3-month gap, I can afford that 3-month time frame to do an internship, then I'll do it. If it's clashing with an exam or so, then obviously I'll not take it up. So depending on that, we'll have to take a call whether to take up or not to take up an internship. But of course, if you have time, you should, right? So you have to understand, you have to have a very high level of EQ as well when you're managing college. So if you can do much more in your city with your college, go ahead with that. If you're getting a significant jump in terms of the ranking of the college that you can get, if you move to a different city, then go ahead with that. That's how I would look at it. Second, managing professional courses. So obviously you can always choose the easy way out. You can complete graduation, chilling and everything, then start with those, or you can push yourself a little more and start those and use your time very, very well. That is what you should be doing. Now in this, I get a little skeptical nowadays in terms of asking students to push themselves, but please understand, you're supposed to be pushing yourself in terms of input and not in terms of the output or the outcome that is there. What I mean to say is, because people and even parents get very skeptical nowadays if the kid is going to get into depression, or if he takes it too seriously in terms of the passing, or whether he passes or qualifies the exam or not. A lot of students are scared that I've never failed in the exam in my school life till now. What will happen with this exam if I pursue? You have to understand something. In school, if you have, let's say, 40 students in a classroom, 39 or 40 will pass and go to the next class. That is what happens all throughout your classes 1 to 12. Rarely would you find somebody failing a class 10 boards or a class 12 boards, right? Generally does not happen. 99.99% cases, I would say, it does not happen. But the moment you're out of class 12, there'll be a small percentage of students who will be getting admission in the top 10 colleges of the country, or top 20 or top 30 colleges in the country. Immediately a filtration criteria is there. You take up a CA foundation exam, 30-40% students will pass, 60% have to fail. You take up a CFA level 1, 35% would pass, 65% have to fail. You take up an MBA college CAT examinations, 2-3% students will get in the top 30-40 colleges. The remaining will not get in the top tier B schools. This has to happen. And if somebody is going to judge you because you did not qualify something, then the problem is with them and not with you. If you are not working hard enough, you're not completing your syllabus, you're not doing your bit, then I am going to judge you. You're wasting your time and your parents' money. That you should not do. So your objective should be in terms of your input, what you are doing. Whether you've completed the syllabus, you worked hard, you've studied, you've revised, you followed instructions, you've been attentive while doing the classes and not using phone while attending lectures. If you are doing all those things, and if you do not pass, then there's no problem. You'll attempt again. That is how professional exams work. If you go to a job interview, for example, first of all, if there are 1,000 candidates applying, there'll probably be 200 who get shortlisted. Out of those 200, maybe 10 will get a job. That does not mean you don't apply, right? If you're doing a business, you reach out to 100 people, 5 will revert, 1 might get converted as a client and give you business or give you money, or your sales happen. That does not mean you stop reaching out to 100. In fact, in order to increase your probability, you reach out to 500. You're understanding the idea? So giving up is not going to work. You give up right now along with college. What will happen after college? Are you not going to apply for jobs? Are you not going to do business? Are you not going to work? Are you not going to experiment? Tell me, are you following this? So this is not going to work. You have to do that. Should I do internships or not? Again, I've answered these questions a little more in detail and how to manage your college and professional courses along with college and internships and everything. We'll discuss a timeline a little later. Say, for example, I have an exam in June and I have a next exam in, let's say, February. And June to September is very light for me, July, August, September. If I can take out that time, I would stretch myself. I would take up that internship and stretch myself and study. I can take 9 months to study, or I can take 9 months to do 3 months internship and study. So it depends on how hardworking you are or how much you want to do and how fast you want to do, how much you want to use your time well, right? So that will depend on you. Events and societies, definitely, even if your grooming according to you is very, very good, you can post reels and everything on Instagram. If you think you're really very, very nice following the trends and all, still college events, management events are a different ballgame altogether. Make sure that you participate. Best manager rounds, startup rounds are there, HR marketing rounds are there. Please make sure you participate. So with your professional exams, maybe you may not have the time to be a part of a society or a club or something, but there are a lot of events these clubs and societies in your college keep hosting and organizing. So when my exams used to get done, generally it used to happen in May, June and November, December. So once my exam is done in May, June, I'm participating in the events. Again, November, December exams get over, January, whatever events are there, I would try and participate. I'm not participating in anything during October, November, because October, November is all exam time. September, a lot of events actually used to happen and I used to take part at that time. But January, February is when I'm participating most. So you participate in the events, even if you're not being a part of the organizing committee or so. And I was pretty comfortable because my school time, I've been very active in everything. So it's been fine. In terms of public speaking and all, it's been relatively good during college and during school as well. So you evaluate those things. And if you think that, you really need that grooming during college, because after college, again, it becomes difficult to get that platform, right? Then if it happens, it'll happen in a B school. And I've seen people graduating out of B schools, again, the same, not participating, not getting involved. That is something you cannot afford to do now. You're an introvert, that's fine. Don't discuss your personal life and personal feelings. Getting it? So please get out of that inhibition. So participating, definitely yes. Should I delay my courses because of college activities? Again, you decide 2 things. How much of grooming do you need? And whether you're comfortable delaying your career, you start earning 1 year later or 2 years later, 2 years later, will your family get affected? Based on that, you take a call, right? And if you can manage more events and studies together as much as possible, stretch yourself. Nahi hua na, big deal. At least try. Because it may not work. Because of that, I've seen people not trying. I'll tell you, my CA and CS foundation exam was together. So I had my class 12 exam in March, and May was CS foundation, June was a CA foundation. I was preparing for CA very thoroughly. I got very good scores also. Yes, I was preparing. In fact, I remember attending a class for CA foundation, and from that class, I'm directly going to take the CS exam. CS hoga, nahi hoga. If I pass, it's okay. If I don't pass, it's okay, because I'm anyways not preparing very, very seriously for it. Let me at least try. Let me at least push myself to prepare for CA foundation and take out 2-3 hours for CS preparation. I was able to clear. Same thing I did with CA and CS inter. So I had my college exam in May and CA exam in May. It was happening alternate day basis. So college, CA, 8 papers like that. And then CS exam was in June. I was thoroughly studying for CA, got a rank in CA also in inter. So my college exam and CA inter was done. I did not touch the CS books. The moment CA exam was done, and it's very rigorous. You're studying like crazy for 6-8 months or so, right? And college is going on. You're attending college in the morning. You're attending all the classes. You're doing CA and everything. I wanted to test myself that after completing CA exam, 16 days daily paper, and then again studying rigorously for the whole day, because I have to study 20-25 days or so. I'll have to prepare and take the CS inter exams. Okay, hoga, nahi hoga. I don't need to prove to anybody else that why I passed or I did not pass or whatever. I wanted to push myself and see if it works out or not, right? And it worked out. CS inter, I was able to qualify. A lot of overlap is there in CA and CS inter syllabus as well, but that happened. What I'm trying to tell you is, don't think of the outcome And based on that, don't take the decision or don't push yourself. Don't stress yourself or get into depression and all that. I mean, you're understanding the idea. So I was very well prepared that, okay, and CS final, I remember I had taken my CAT exams and then I took CS final. And CAT exams, I was preparing a bit. That also, I was not able to prepare much. And CS final, I had barely 25 days or 30 days to prepare. If I don't give them, so definitely it's not going to happen. Let me at least try and attempt. So have your priorities set. Even after that, for a few exams, again, you have to decide what exam or which exam is your priority. I knew I'm not getting into law profession. But since there was an overlap and I was like, might as well do it, might as well use my time, right? So you take decisions like that. Should I do courses for upskilling? Yes, definitely. As we discussed, you need to improve your communication. So participate in all college activities and events and all. Upskill yourself. I think participating during college is going to play a very important role in terms of, improving your writing, reading and all of that. Start reading voraciously and work on your Excel, PPT and all those things. And then depending on the kind of role, say for example, you want to get into marketing and you want to get into graphic designing and all, then of course you'll have to learn those designing skills and all separately. So that way, yes, if you're having a particular kind of profile in mind with regards to that. Taking a gap year, I would not suggest this. So even if you are not getting admission in the best of college that you're looking for, students in engineering generally do this. If they don't get a rank or something to get into a particular engineering college, they take a gap year, again, prepare for the entrance exams and then they go for it. But with respect to undergrad, personally, I would not recommend. Worst case scenario, what you could do is you could start the college in the whatever college you're getting admission into right now. You complete your entire first year. You take the entrance exam next year. If you get a good college, then you evaluate whether or not to shift and what is the gap, what is the jump you're getting in terms of the college. And based on that, you decide whether you want to get a drop year or not. Or if you want to continue with your college and with the professional courses you want to add on to it. Because any which ways, before CA, I was not going to get my placement. So I did not need a placement from undergrad. So evaluate that, whether you need the placement from the college or not. Can you groom yourself without the college being that great? Suppose if you were not able to secure admission in one. Can you groom yourself? Can you read? Can you participate? Say, for example, your college is not participating in any event. Please reach out to people from XYZ colleges in Bangalore, Bombay, Delhi, wherever, all the cities. See what events are going on. There are inter-college events and all. Get your college invited. Form a team from your college and go and participate. Lose and come, it's okay. You'll get the exposure. It'll be brilliant. And there are events. I remember there's an event, particularly there was a college event in Pune. I was dancing on the street, selling masala thumbs up, making masala thumbs up and selling. We've done all sorts of things in order to make money. There's a round, they'll give you 200 rupees. Now go and let's see after 3 hours how much money you can make. In the heat, you're dancing, you're selling those masala thumbs up and all. 10 rupees worth of thumbs up you're selling for 100 rupees. You dance, they'll give you 100. If you don't dance, they'll give you 30 rupees. You might as well earn and win the round. No? You got to win the round. That's it. That's what matters. So these are the kind of events. So you'll get out of your inhibitions. So participate in these events. So gap year, generally not recommended. There's a friend of mine, he got into a B school. He's quite well off. He got admission in the top, I think it will be the 20th college, let's say. And then he, after first year again, he took CAT exams and he went to the next college was, I think, 7th or so. He wanted that jump. He was willing to waste 10-15 lakh rupees. Waste nahi bolunga. I mean, he was willing to spare that 10-15 lakh rupees of first year, which was obviously non-refundable in that college and the amount he spent. And he was willing to get a drop of 1 year for jumping that 10, 12, 13 rank. But that again, you have to see whether you have the affordability for it and you can spare that kind of time or not. Anyways, that was for postgrad what he did. Undergrad, I don't recommend you to get a drop year.